What's share of wallet?
Share of wallet. Yeah. Sir, everything is connected to share of wallet, right?
Yeah.
So by and large, I think the Indian advertising industry is about 62,000 crore. And so digital is to be 1% of that. That time
Yeah.
it was 45,000 crore or something. Only 1%. So who would take notice of those guys? And there were some 100, 500 people who would be squabbling inside that. So we would know who comes for pitch, who wins it, and who will probably get it and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so Latika is a huge transition from that. Yeah, maybe your job hasn't changed, but the scale is immensely different.
Hi guys, we are live now.
Oh, great.
Okay, great. So, but we're still waiting for somebody else to join, right?
Yes. We're waiting.
Yeah, Anand to join. Yeah. So,
You have
is
the
anybody?
participants join in. Hi everyone. We're just waiting for our last panelist to join in. Give us like another 3 to 4 minutes, and we should be able to begin the discussion.
Sure.
Sort of all of us, I think Vishal is having fun. You're in Goa, right?
Yeah. That's the advantage of being virtual. You can be anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not that I was not having fun in Mumbai. Of course, that was also great fun.
True. Hi, Anand.
Hi, Anand.
Hi. So, hi.
Great. Now that I have everyone here, we're going to be quickly starting off. I'm so glad that I have all the speakers and delegates on time. Thanks to no digital traffic anymore, that we can start our sessions on time. I'm Latika, and I've been working with IMAI for the past 10 years. It's been a great journey. IMAI is an industry body. We're representing almost 390 plus members from various industry and sectors, whether it is digital advertising, edutech, payments, health tech, IoT, AI, so on and so forth, gaming. So please do log into IMA website to know more details. Having said that, in the past few months, I know all of us have been at home, and we as IMA have been seeing tough times what our members have been going through. And having said that, we are trying our level best to get the digital fraternity together and see how it's affecting their business continuity, and even try and find out possible ways to resolve it. Having said that, I know nutrition in India was a jargon that only a conversation restricted with doctors, sports personalities, gym trainers, and school teachers. However, I think with this new normal, there has been a lot of several avenues which have opened up for health, fitness, mental health, physical health, nutrition to flourish, as people are now receptive to products and ideas that could safeguard their health and up their fitness quotient. I think the new mantra is, if this year you have your life, you've had it all. To make it more crystal clear, we have with us a wonderful team of Liquid Asia, who have been a good IMEI long-standing member, and we'll be discussing the state of health and nutrition in India. Having said that, I wouldn't take too much time, and I'm going to be inviting our first panelist, Vishal Godil. Thanks, Vishal, for joining us. I know that
Thanks for inviting me.
don't need an introduction, but if in case Vishal is from Goki, guys, with an experience of over 20 years, he's worked in few sectors like gaming, entertainment, before shifting his focus to health and wellness. Vishal was listed among the top 50 executives in the mobile content space by the UK-based Mobile Entertainment magazine. His passion for technology, fitness, and gaming led him to his next venture, which is Goki, which is, of course, focused on helping people make a change towards a healthier lifestyle and be the force of good. Before I move on to my next panelist, Vishal, what is your quick mantra of health?
I think my mantra of health is that finally everybody knows that your true wealth is health. So this is the time that you may be a billionaire, but the virus didn't make any discrimination. It was the survival of the fittest. So whether it is your business or it's your health, it is going to be the survival of the fittest. And I think you are what you eat. So nutrition ko fix kar do.
So true. I've planted my in my garden this mint and tulsi after reading that you need tulsi almost every day now. So I so truly agree with you. Great. We next have Vijay Vedugopal from Fast and Up. He has over 17 years of business experience in diverse fields, which include pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and IT. As the co-founder and CEO of Aeronautics Supports Products, he's been instrumental in building the Fast Enough brand in India very, very quickly. Thank you, Vijay, for joining us. And the same question to you as well, Vijay. What is your mantra for mental and physical health?
Thanks. So for me personally, I've been an avid runner for the last 8 years, so I continue to do that. So even during the COVID time, I tried to get out and do my runs. So I think that's still remains my piece where I get into my zone. Yeah, so I think I agree with Vishal that finally health is being realized as the wealth that everyone should carry forward.
Can't agree more. The other day I was at Decathlon and I was just asking them what was the most selling item, and they told me the cycle. We have never sold so many cycles in so many years, which we have sold in the past few months the moment lockdown opened up. Thank you for joining, Vijay. Next we have is Anand Pathak from netmeds.com. He's the director of marketing and sales for one of India's largest online pharmaceutical aggregator. He's responsible for devising and implementing innovative strategies that have gone a long way in making people aware of nextmeds.com. Anand, your mantra of health. Sorry, Anand, you're on mute.
Thanks for reminding me and thanks for inviting here. My mantra for health is yoga, meditation, and at least daily, at least 35 minutes to 45 minutes rigorous exercise. Because the weight management was one of the big problem during this lockdown. And that was really crazy, so reducing your, the intake calories and burning the same calories was a big challenge because we all work from home. Yeah.
Can't agree more. We've all had master chefs and little master chefs. And God knows what all master chefs at home. Thank you for joining us, Anand. We next have Siddharth Batra from Glanbia Performance Nutrition. He's the director of marketing India. He has experience of over a decade in marketing and responsible for the development and launch of multiple categories and delivering on the business metrics through product, pricing, quality management, optimum stock planning. Siddharth, any mantra which you would like to share with our delegates?
I was wondering, and firstly, thanks for having me here. It's a privilege to share the dice with such privileged guests. Apart from physical exercise, which I do in the form of tennis, and I do that more for fun than honestly any fitness goal. I think 3 years ago, I was introduced to this concept called mindfulness. That's helped me stay fit and stay sane during this lockdown as well. It's not just about meditation, it's being mindful of what you eat, mindful of what you read, mindful of what you do. So yeah, I think that's helped me stay fit and stay sane.
Great. I'm sure a lot of us, we used to have breakfast on the go in our cars while we were traveling. Most of us belong to Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore. I think that's a good thing that now we at least know and we look at what breakfast we're eating. I hope so. Most of
Absolutely.
us do. Thank you for joining, Siddharth. And yes, I have here Arnab Mitra. I think I know Arnab for the past 10 years now. He's the managing director from Liquid Asia and has spent more than more than 15 years plus in strategizing, implementing marketing strategies for multinational brands like Emirates, Citibank, Red Bull, etc. He's been awarded an Impact Power 100, the 100 most influential people. Arnab is indeed go-to man for everything new and ever-changing. Arnab, before I hand it over to you, and I know that we're going to have a great session as you as a moderator, I want to know what has been your mantra of health. Except for that, you play guitar. I don't know if a lot of people know you or not. I'm sure music might be one of the things, but yes, what would be your mantra?
So I think, very clearly, I feel that a lot of people look at fitness as a goal. I look at it as a journey, and therefore I keep playing with my body. Sometimes I put on weight, sometimes I again lean down, I go to the gym, sometimes I eat a lot, drink a lot, and then again go back to a fitness streak. So I feel my mantra is to keep on, that rightly what you said, everything that is changing makes me excited, and I also do the same with my body. So sometimes you will see me absolutely bloated like a potato, and maybe the couple of months later you will see that I'm probably toned down. So I just love to play with myself in a context of changing body, whenever I feel like and whenever I don't feel like.
Super. I hope you never face issue of at the airports of matching with your ID card. Great. Thank you guys for coming up here. Over to you, Arnab. We're going to have a great session. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Latika. Thank you, IMI. Without really getting into another round of introduction, I think now everybody knows who everybody is on the panel. So, I will actually start with Vishal because he has been around this fitness journey of building a fitness product, which is actually about trackability of personal fitness, Vishal. So quickly from you, the shift that you have seen from when you started Goki, what people spoke to you about versus I think about what 8-10 years now that you are at least building this business, and now the shift that you see and the kind of seriousness that has come on, if you can just talk about it.
No, so this has been our 6th year with Goki.
6th year, yeah.
And I think, see, one thing which I have realized, and I think possibly everybody knows here, that health and fitness is not an issue of information or access or money. It's an issue of motivation. Everybody wants to get fit. Everybody knows they should not be eating or smoking or drinking unhealthy food or fried food. Sabko pata hai. But they still do that behavior because they lack the motivation. And what Goki's idea was use data, use gamification, use coaching and various tools and tricks to help you get motivated. And if you are motivated, we help you keep getting motivated, because people get motivated for 2-3 days and then again they are back to their old habits. So our whole idea was, how do we use tech to influence behavior and influence motivation? So which started in 2014-15, like I said, where we were looking at a lot of people who were self-motivated, who came in, but with the coaching, we were able to amplify it. But now in the post-COVID scenario, we are seeing that tons of people are adopting to Goki, and just about everybody is reading, that they should be now having vitamin C and zinc and immunity. Immunity is the new buzzword, but immunity cannot be get from a tablet. Immunity needs to be built, and it can be built with nutrition, with sleep, with exercise, with rest, with supplementation. Of course, I know there are a few supplement companies here, and everybody is deficient of vitamin D and vitamin E, and there is a huge challenge of protein. So people are suddenly realizing this, and now the COVID-19 has given people that extra motivation ki abhi karna hai. But once the vaccines are in, we will be seeing that what percentage of people will actually stick back to it. So I think it's a great time to be in the health and fitness world, because right now globally, every government, every parent, everybody is telling everybody else that please improve immunity, and that's only possible this way. And I think from a adoption perspective, what has happened in the digital health space, it has accelerated it by 10 years. People were not tracking their data. Nobody knew what their blood pressure was, what their oxygen levels were. Today, everybody is having this data literally tracked every day. So suddenly data and the importance of health data is also coming about. In fact, we've just recently got all Goki wearables medical device approved by CDSO. So we are for the first devices who also went into regulatory approvals. So what we are really seeing is this entire segment of tracking and nutrition and fitness and health really booming. And I'm glad to see that IMAI is taking this topic forward, because, and I will talk about it in the panel, that a lot of IMAI members are also responsible for destroying health and nutrition in this country. So we will have to talk about that too.
So I'll just take a leaf out of your point. So of course, trackability, immunity, and coming to Vijay straight, because you're building a business out of the need for immunity, and like the brand name, you are doing it pretty fast. So how does it tell us more about this journey that has happened over the last, I think you were telling in the morning that how in the last 8-9 months you've seen a sea change, right? So tell us how did you capitalize on it, and how are you moving so fast?
No, thanks, Arnab. Just to correct, we are not into the business of immunity. We are into the business of nutrition.
Yes.
Immunity happened on the way. So 5 years back, I think when we started Fastened Up, it was more because there was hardly any options available in India, right? When you talk about wellness and nutrition, there were very few homegrown brands which Indians could access in India, right? You had a wonderful brand called On, but again, On was, imported, and it was that kind of, and one brand could not, suffice the entire population. Our own story happened because I don't know how many of you know that in running, a lot of people use energy gels, and typically 5-6 years back, when if you had to participate in a Mumbai marathon, you would start asking your friends who is going to the US, who is going to the Europe, and get me a box of gels, right? So I mean, we wanted to change that scenario because Indians had access or had looked at global options when they used to travel abroad. But when they used to come to India, they didn't have options. So our idea was to get good nutrition, good quality nutrition to the people of India. And that's where the journey started. Now, the issue has always been that nutrition has always been in the lower level of priorities, right? I mean, I think there was a discussion that nutrition has moved from, elite sportsmen to the commoners. But I would have to tell you that even at the elite level, there's a lack of knowledge of nutrition, even at the people who are participating in the Olympics or at the national level, at a variety of sports. So for us, the critical issue from the start, I'm sure this would be the issue for any nutrition company, was to educate people on the need for nutrition. And then there was also the mindset of why would I want to have something which is, taken from outside? Why can't I rely on real food? And that debate keeps happening. Now, I think, and also one of the issues in this field was that there was no large brand willing to put marketing money out there, right? And it was not a mainstream FMCG business for anyone, right?
Right.
So there are a lot of other brands trying to, get the community along, do it step by step, right? So if you have to fast forward it to 2020, what happened was with COVID coming in, there was suddenly a shift into nutrition. Everyone was occupying the front screens of the IPL, the commercials, and everyone was talking suddenly about immunity.
Right.
And that actually expedited the situation. And I think I would say that nutrition companies probably got an acceleration or went by lift to maybe the 4th or 5th floor, right? When they were taking the steps. And now probably after COVID, it would have dipped down to the 4th floor, but again, they have a better base to build on, right? So I think that like Vishal was saying, that we'll have to see how much have fallen off. And that is a challenge that all of us would be facing. But I'm sure that we are probably better off than what we were in April in terms of the knowledge of nutrition. So I'm looking forward to those positive days, and not just with immunity. Immunity is probably something which will not go for long, right? At the end of the day, we're talking about health. And I think the term which is being used is holistic well-being, right? Yeah. And that is what is going to stay.
True. So just taking one point out of this and coming to you, Sid, Vijay spoke about how COVID probably accelerated the need for marketing, for in this category. Knowing your brand, you the de facto number one in the sports nutrition place. My question is more towards how you see this making other challenger brands challenge you more than what they did earlier.
Okay, so there are certain trends that were already existing. I think COVID has accelerated those trends, and when so for example, there was always a tailwind behind the health and wellness sector. There was always, because the segments that comprise the health and wellness segment were always growing at upwards of 20% when the economy is growing in single digits. I think what COVID has done is accelerated that, so that now instead of 20s, they're going at 30s. And there is, from a consumer angle, the change that we are seeing is that people are seeking more value. So while they are more concerned about their health and wellness, their willingness to experiment with new brands is slightly lower now.
Okay.
and and which has the way we come to that inference is that we look at the number of new brands launched in any category, whether it's online and offline, and so far we've seen a significant dip in the number of new brands that are coming up.
Okay.
Is consumers are migrating to technology, so there is a huge movement, whether it's education, whether it's entertainment, or whether there is fitness. There is a movement from offline to, let's say, getting that solution digitally. And of course, there is currently, I don't know whether it is a fad or whether it's a trend, but of course, the interest to boost one's immunity has never been higher. Yeah. So those are trends I think that we are seeing. As far as investments are concerned, I have not seen investments dip, at least since July onwards. Investments have been at pre-COVID levels, whether it's for us or whether it's for competition. There is a very active interest, and everyone is looking to offer newer and faster and better solutions to consumers in this space. So there's no dearth of investment that I've seen in this category.
Okay, cool. So coming to Anand, actually, Anand, you are a D2C guy, and you're on mute, Anand. So you're a D2C guy, and you're actually the last trigger point for people to purchase. So all their products come and congregate on your portal, and you sell them. So tell me more about perspective of Vijay, Vishal, Siddharth, trend. How happy man are you? Like, how does your
Yeah. I understand. So yeah, be it immunity boosting or be it multivitamins, yeah, we saw huge uptake in vitamin C and zinc tablets, and especially Ayurveda. So these things, we're kind of in the medium zone of in terms of uptake. And basically, our brand we built in such a way that people think that if you have to buy medicine, go to Netmeds, India Kit Pharmacy, right? So the 4 pillars that we work on Netmeds is basically accessibility, affordability, convenience, and trust. So now if you see the ratio, I mean, you guys are definitely going to publish some report on the state of health and nutrition in India. But the biggest challenge that today country is facing about the accessibility is that, whatever healthcare access that a metro city guys have, similarly, same things available to the rural areas and non-metro areas, right? So as of now, if you see Netmeds, we have delivered around 90% of the PIN code of India. And what we see is that the healthcare needs in the non-metro is much, much higher than what is in the metro. Because in metro, you have multiple choices to, get the service available to you. But in non-metro, the doctor versus patient ratio or the number of pharmacy store availability in the per capita area is so low, right? So somebody has to, actually go to the city and towns to go and get the things done. But, technology has changed the life so simple, and, internet explosion happened and the smart device has exploded in India. And of course, we are part of Reliance, and thanks to Jio that, that entire penetration happening across the country in terms of, the net increment in the internet users. So, that's a really kind of, good thing that, we came up like 2015 when we launched, Netmeds. And that time, everything was available online. I mean, of course, Flipkart, and Amazon were part of the, customer life. But, medicines were still, and wellness was still not available on those platforms. So that's where, we started this, and we saw that huge uptake started happening in, around India. And right from the day one, we took it as India as a market. So we never say that, okay, we are startup from Chennai, let's do only Chennai, and rest of the country we don't bother. So right from the day one, we started delivering across the country. And that was the accessibility that, reached out to all of the Indian citizenship. And of course, it is affordable, and it's a convenience that at any 24/7 pharmacy and the pharmacy in your phone, it most look like a pitch of Netmeds. But yeah, this is what, we try to build around. But coming back to, this lockdown case, few of the things. So, it's once in a century, the pandemic like this COVID-19 has, impacted all of us. And everybody has a different experience. And for us, being in marketing and sales, we are always chasing the numbers, and we have to grow the numbers. But this time, first time I experienced in my life, the demand was not a problem, supply was the problem. right? So being into online and being into the essential commodities, it helped us a lot. But it was never a opportunistic mode, but we felt like it was a responsibility on our shoulder that during this entire lockdown, when the country was locked and people staying at home and they wanted to order and they want to get delivery at their doorstep. So there used to be, initially when the lockdown started, there was a huge supply chain problem, but then slowly started getting better. And I would say, the last 5 years, we never got such appreciation from our customer than during the lockdown. I mean, on social media, people used to, take the pictures and upload it and say that, thanks that you have delivered it in such a crucial time. And these are life-saving medicines. So that was the one thing. And second thing I would like to say here is that, the number of suppliers, number of the brands, number of companies, they started, approaching us that they wanted to get listed on Netflix. So supply was also there, it was in the pipeline. It was upsurge we have seen.
And, there was some phase when the supply was actually low, I think, and then it started picking up.
Yes, it was also from the supplier side. It was also the last mile delivery and all, because we always depend on third party and our own courier guys. So those times were very crucial, and it was a very responsible work that we have done during those days. And another challenge that we faced was that exactly because of that, keeping the stock in store was the biggest challenge, because they used to fly in and they will just run out.
Just coming out of this detailed part, Anand, I mean, you made a very interesting point about experiences and how people revered about great experiences, and of course the last mile delivery. I mean, if you deliver the stuff when it's needed is when the maximum appreciated. Back to back question to Sid and Vishal, actually starting with Sid. Experience, right? I mean, nobody cares about experience more than world's #1 sports nutrition brand, or any number ones for that matter in a particular category. With a factor that there is very little that you controlled in terms of the last mile delivery, and you always had Netmeds of the world, or even Amazons of the world, or every other company, or even your retailers were literally shut, the real physical world stores. What did you think of in terms of building experience? Like, what was your plan of action? And again, the same question to Vishal also later on, that in plethora of content, how did you come up with unique and trustable content amongst all? So starting with Sid and then to Vishal.
Sorry, actually I was on mute. So it was a big challenge, Arnab, because our consumption is very closely linked to people going out, indulging in workout, indulging in physical sports. So we had to find a way of offering those opportunities to them within their homes, and hence virtual training sessions conducted through thousands of personal trainers became the norm. There was a lot of content created around how you can use props available in your home to do a regular workout. I think I wouldn't say that those props can substitute the gym equipment, but I think they were a great stopgap arrangement for those 3 months. And then we started to focus on a lot of other things that people could do while at home. For example, recipes, because food and suddenly everyone became a culinary chef. And many people in the house started to cook. So we thought of what can amateurs cook, and we provided recipes that included products like ours in those that can fulfill the needs for different times of the day. So those were some of the initiatives taken. There's lots I can speak about, but I'll want Vijay to.
No, interesting, because I'm going to Vishal also only on this question, because movements were limited. Vishal, your products kind of enhances the entire experience of movement and then track it and etc. Right? What did you guys do special during the 6 months of lockdown?
So clearly, I mean, we ran a lot of virtual engagement programs. I mean, that goes without saying. But I think one thing which I want to just add is we are also now among the possibly India's biggest store to sell healthy products. So Goki, within our app, we have the Goki store, where people can buy supplements, nutrition, proteins, all kinds of healthy food items. And we must have sold hundreds and thousands of units over the last 6 months on our platform. So we have actually now become, for a lot of brands, and we were just hearing about the new brands who are coming. So whether it is Kapiva or Akiva or Sports Nutrition or Pure Nutrition, we currently have about a dozen odd brands who work with us on all these categories. So clearly we are seeing a huge amount of adoption of this. Now,
Mm.
when it came specifically to engaging customers, apart from the virtual activities we had, we partnered with Fit India, and Fit
Mm.
India itself was running a number of activities with various coaches and all kinds of celebrities we have on our platform, which was able to push this. But one thing I also want to kind of add here is, we were talking about trust. So what we are seeing is that consumers are very, very wary to buy a number of these supplements, especially supplements from some of the mainstream platforms, because there has been a lot of complaints of whether these have been dubious or impure. And recently there was a whole story around honey. So we are seeing that consumers now are actually having a huge challenge with trusting brands, especially when they are supposed to spend a few thousand rupees for a protein powder, or a few hundred rupees for even some kind of vitamins. So I think, and that is what Goki does. So in our platform, we only have 4 brands or 3 brands for a particular thing. So we do not follow the Amazon approach or the Flipkart approach where there are 500 brands and consumers. So we have our own team who does quality testing of these products, and only then they are listed. So I think trust is actually possibly the biggest factor when it comes to today consuming a lot of the nutraceuticals and nutrition products.
Okay. Yeah, I think authenticity, of course, authentic product is one of the concern. And then actually, coming to Vijay, I think it's a very valid, pertinent point that Vishal brought up, in terms of authentic products. So when you built a brand ground up in the last 5 years, how did you address the quality question of the consumer?
So, good question, which is brought up by the panel, right? I mean, a lot of us have a more of a healthcare pharmaceutical background. At the end of the day, the whole concept of manufacturing, quality controls are all related to the healthcare world in general. But what could be an issue overall, I'm not talking about any specific brand, is a fact that in the last 5-6 years, if you see, people are trying to build a brand rather than a product and a supply chain, right? So what has meant is you first put a product concept and a brand into the market, and then solve the back end of it, right? When you do that, what happens is then you rush towards seeing which ingredient from where, and then you don't have a manufacturing facility, so you go to somebody else and get it manufactured from there. And I can assure you with a lot of belief that, having been in this industry for almost 20 years in the pharmaceutical healthcare industry, getting a product toll manufactured is not as easy as it seems, right? Because right from where the smallest of the ingredient is picked up anywhere in the world, the trail has to be gotten clearly. Then even the manufacturing itself has to be controlled and then taken forward and given to the consumer. Okay,
Sure.
so it's not just about putting a label on the product and saying that it is authentic. Okay, so for us, in our case, luckily for us, we manufacture in-house. So whatever we have done, gets manufactured in our own facility, right? So to a large extent, to a considerable degree of certainty, we can assure that I mean, things will not be wrong because it's done under due diligence, right? Now, still, we still have to buy ingredients from across the world, right?
Right.
I mean, we cannot do all the ingredients in house. So what we have done is, like, we have gone out and done vendor auditing, qualification, etc. And just to let you know, I'm sure some of the panelists would know that when it comes to specifically, I mean, sports, for example, I mean, I'm just giving an example, right? You have cases where there are banned substances found in an athlete,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, this is possibly because they take supplementation, which is probably contaminated or injected, etc. Now, we are probably one of the only brands, or maybe 1 or 2 brands, which actually sends the product to a UK lab and gets it tested for almost 300 banned substances. So it's an additional cost, but at the end of the day, you don't want things to go wrong, right? So the thing is, today, in a flurry of getting nutrition out into the market, right, you will have a lot of brands which come into play, shouting it out in the marketplace, and consumers looking at what they are offering from a marketing claim and buying it, right?
Mhm.
But I'm actually hoping that over a period of time, the next 6 months, things get stabilized, and then you have a churn happening, right? When you have a churn happening, you have consolidation, you have the real players who are actually having a very consistent supply chain settling into the market, and that is what is going to take this industry forward. So all this noise is great, but in the long term, I think things will settle down, and then the good quality brands, which also has a good consistent supply chain, will go forward.
True. I mean, quality, I mean, nothing beats quality. Of course, there's no doubt. And good to hear about this 300 band product check from Hasana. Sid, number one brand gets a lot of counterfeit supplements in the market. And you are a true blue marketing guy here amongst many of us, so is that a marketing challenge or it is more a sales challenge? How do you guys control it?
Yeah, so it's one of the biggest marketing challenges, and we sell or India sells more of a lot of gray market or so-called sometimes even fake products of Optim Nutrition, and so we've put in a number of steps to try and control that, starting with every pack of ours can be authenticated in a matter of 5 seconds by sending an SMS to a unique code. We made it as idiot proof as that, and that step has helped us a lot in bringing down building confidence amongst consumers that they are getting a correct product or not. Putting a list of authentic sellers or authorized sellers on every platform that we sell. But most importantly, creating a channel which allows you to speak directly with consumers. Because I think that's what's worked brilliantly for us. And when I say we can speak directly, through your team's help, we've created a campaign wherein we've reached out to consumers in a 5-kilometer radius of every outlet that we sell to, and told them where to get their genuine Optim Nutrition product from. And this was done across more than 1,500 pin codes in India. Yeah, 1,500 pin codes in India. So given the needs of the product, it anyway sells not more than 2,000 pin codes. But it continues to remain a challenge. I think we've just taken steps. The fact that this category sees almost 50% consumers lapse out of the category every year tells us a number of challenges. And as marketing, our job to educate them on how much to take, what can be the side effects, and be very, very, very transparent is super critical. Otherwise, we be in the game of customer acquisition and keep losing consumers, which is not sustainable in the long run.
Sure. So from a quality to the processes that brands are taking, Vishal, you wanted to reach out to one point of I think you are hinting at more a balanced and overall wellness, and how probably some industries are potentially averse to accepting that kind of a lifestyle change. This might stir some controversy in this group, and I just want to hear from you that
I mean, it is not controversial. It's quite
I hope
clear.
it does.
The science
I hope it does. Then we can have more people joining us. So, yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go on, Vishal. Go on.
No, I think I just wanted to add one point here, because we are seeing so much consumer adoption of health. The number one selling supplement is not protein, or it's not any vitamin supplement. The number one item which we sell, which people are adopting today, is Desi ghee. We sell 5,000 kilos of ghee now every month. It's that crazy. So what is happening is that while we always think that supplement and nutrition is all about protein powder and honey and all these things, people are, ghee was at one point of time made a huge villain of, India, and turmeric. So what we are seeing is turmeric based teas, one of our highest selling products. So we are not only seeing, when it says nutrition, of the traditional nutrition. So there is a huge adoption of all these categories. I think the point which I just wanted to add here, and I hope IMAI and other bodies and even the government is going to look at it. While at one end we are all trying hard to make people healthy and make them eat nutrition, there are platforms like Zomato and Swiggy and other platforms who are blatantly offering discounts on burgers and pizzas and biryanis, and literally, I mean, every campaign, every consumer discount. In fact, I would say to the extent deep discounting, and even customer first order pay 50% off or 70% off. So I think now that it's quite clear the linkage between junk food and bad health, UK has just introduced provisions of advertising ban on a lot of channels as far as junk is concerned. And I would say that IMAI should get Google, Facebook, and other members to either self-regulate this, because if they don't, then I do see the need for the government to intervene and figure out what product should be advertised and promoted and discounted versus what
Sure.
product should be
Sure.
not.
Sure. So, I mean, of course, there is this Fit India, FSSAI, and I don't know how much IMA will control all of that. But yeah, so coming to deep discounting and your point about adoption to a lot of Indian products which were kind of made villain, a few years back or a few decades back. Actually, question to Anand, because so two questions actually. First is the selection of products that you want to sell. Okay, what drives that? And again, Vishal's point of deep discounting, is that one of your brahmastra, as they say, or it's something else?
Right. So yeah, I mean, good debate actually happening now. So a range of products. See, I mean, based on our offering, one of the that we are basically into the highly regulated space. We are selling medicine, right? So it's a very highly regulated space, and there are a lot of advertising restriction for us. So like in any other brand, like you can go and tell your brand name, like so we are supposed to advertise only like OTC, Ayush product, homeopathy product. Homeopathy, again, like RX product, you cannot do that. So basically, you cannot recommend somebody that you know what, you should take this. Because
Right.
it's all based on the individual health condition, and it's a
Correct.
very personalized, right? So
Right.
so the bar comes here is that we are in very highly regulated space of dealing with the people life. It's a actual medicine, and there is a real challenge in our country that which I would like to incite here is one of the example. I was in Gurgaon. I finished one meeting and I was getting in a Uber, and Uber guy says that, "Do you work in this company?" I said, "No." "So where do you work?" I said, "I work for Netmeds." "Oh, really, Netmeds? I order from you guys." I said, "What makes you to drive?" He was a 55 years, young man, and I asked him, "So what makes you to buy from Netmeds?" And his answer was that, "I don't know if I buy from the local pharmacy guys, whether they're giving me the actual medicine. But at least from you guys, everything is tracked here." And I was like blown away, because there is a reverse gear things are running actually in the market, and it was a kind of different thing for us. So apart from the medicine, which is a highly personalized requirement for individual customer, which is referred by a doctor. So apart from that, we try to increase the range of product in the wellness space, in the like multivitamins. Like I was saying that one of the biggest challenge for us during this entire lockdown was how to keep the score for vitamin C and zinc tablet. It was one of the top moving items. So we couldn't just
just hold on to this point, Anand. I think it's a brilliant. You made a consumer insight. Cited a consumer insight when a 55-year-old man said that they prefer buying from an online portal because they think you sell authentic product. Coming to said, actually, ghee comes from milk, protein comes from milk. And so you tell us what all products are your barriers for an Indian to consume whey protein as a sports nutrition product. Real insights, like, what all are hindering people from accepting sports nutrition products?
We often debate what are we trying to replace in a consumer's life with our product, because he's missing something. So our competition is things like egg, because if a consumer feels if he has 3 eggs in a day, he's got enough protein, which might be true also for some people. I'm not denying it, but our competition is far more with alternate sources of protein, which we always say come first. So first you hydrate, you sleep, you exercise, you take nutrition, and supplements come last. But unfortunately, in today's world, given our eating habits, or most people's eating habits, and the fact that 40% of the country is vegetarian, it's very difficult to fulfill your protein needs through a regular lunch, dinner, breakfast diet, particularly if it involves some bit of junk food. And our competition is a lot more with homemade proteins substitutes rather than any other brand in particular. But I think the second is so the first is that second is people just don't know how much they need. So the fact that your body needs 1.5 grams of protein for each kg of your body is something that needs to be educated. And I mean, no one reads this in school. And that's where I come back to the point on education, that it's very important to tell people that first you need to hydrate, you need to sleep, you need nutrition, and then only the role of protein comes. And it plays a role, or it can help you achieve your fitness goals only if you're exercising properly, you're eating properly, sleeping properly. Because as marketeers, I think we've not done that great a job in educating people, and that's why we see a lot of interest and a lot of people come into the category, and people lapse out also when they don't see the desired results. So our competition is just about people getting more aware.
Okay. So from awareness to Vishal, actually, Vishal, your virtual assistants, right? Virtual, trainers. How are you making them smarter by the day to kind of keep up with this need of consumer? And I'm guessing that with years, our knowledge about, in general, nutrition has also improved, I'm guessing, with time. So how are you keeping up with this virtual trainer and their, what is the process inside Goki to keep it up with the swing?
So clearly, we have training programs, refresher programs for all our coaches. 95% of our coaches are women who are working from home. So they all have their dashboards, they are able to coach people, etc. So I think we've kind of, that system is quite scalable now, given what we are doing. But I think once again, coming back to what is the challenge. So protein is not something which it's like Kellogg's, right? I mean, cornflakes is not part of Indian diet. Kellogg's has tried everything. Finally, they have launched Upma. I was just told that they have just got it right. So I think what we are seeing is that there needs to be innovation in how protein is presented. And we saw some savory protein, sattu. So we are seeing a lot of brands doing innovation around the Indian palate, which is actually working. So we are seeing consumers liking a lot of that, because the traditional protein, like I said, a sportsman, because they are working out in a gym, they will have it because it is more. But if you want a common man to adopt to these things, I think the taste and the texture and I think the culture plays a big role, which is why we are seeing ghee's adoption is so high. Because it is part of our culture and taste, but the same adoption for protein is not there. And especially whey protein, not everybody is there. In fact, we are seeing some very good innovation in plant-based protein. There are protein-based mithais which were recently launched, and we saw very good uptake of that. So I think the alternate methods of how this is going to be presented is going to be play a key role.
True. So innovation, actually, I think knowledge, and then coming back to innovation, Vijay, what is the culture inside your organization to innovate and identify the lacunas where you need to launch a new product?
So interesting question, Arnab, because one would want to introduce the best of things in the world and get it to the Indian market, right? And that has been our endeavor right from 2015. So going back in time, we were the first guys to get the effervescent brand of nutrition into the country. So in those days, you even go to possibly knowledgeable people, right? Who you think would have had access to knowledge in terms of nutrition, and you kind of put forward this, they would not know how to consume it, right? A lot of times we have seen the effervescent tablet being taken out and just popped in as if you are having a normal medicinal tablet, right? And that is heartbreak for us.
Such a big thing. I don't know how you gulp it.
So that's heartbreak for us, right? Because you are trying to, first of all, you're trying to, bridge the nutrition story. And secondly, you have a product which is up against all the odds, right? So typically, one would ideally like to choose a product or a product category which will sail through, right? You want the least path of resistance, right?
Okay.
But overall, I think over the last few years, we have done certain things, and I think things have improved, and there is an acceptance, etc., which has happened, right? So I think the last 6-7 months, I think most of the companies have been led into the path of COVID specific health and immunity specific products into the market. A lot of it is me too's, right? One or two would have been something which you would have actually done some R&D before and kept, right? But you wouldn't have introduced, right? Because you don't know how it will behave, right? We talked about desi ghees. We talked about, I mean, even turmeric, for example, right? This is something which it was there. So we went ahead and launched a curcumin based effervescent tablet. I mean, first of its kind in the world. I'm not too sure how it'll run, but I think at the end of the day, the time is there to go ahead and launch it, right? Maybe after 6 months, you will find that it's not going good. Probably you'll have to pull it back, right? We talked about zinc and tulsi. A lot of people were talking. We have a tablet which is effervescent, just zinc and tulsi, right? So it is more of a water infused kind of concept, right? That you are building. I mean, hydration is something which is undisputably has to be there, right? So what if you have to infuse that water with some simple things in life, right? But the challenge as we go ahead will still be there, right? I mean, we can talk a lot about innovation in protein, etc., but somebody will have to do it and show it. Till that time.
So Vijay, I just want to add here that we were selling Fasten Up, and the best flavor which everybody loves is the cola flavor for some reason.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Yeah.
That is what is everybody's favorite. Nobody wants to have tulsi and turmeric.
No, thanks.
I have also innovated by putting a little rum into it, and it works.
So thanks, Vishal and Arnab. Cola flavor was something which, inside people are not very, gung-ho about going out and launching it. But there are a few of us who believe that, it's an absolutely great thing, right? You're talking about Coca-Cola or something like that. And you have an effervescent product, which is easy. And today, I mean, believe me, a lot of the guys who are playing for the national level cricket team, etc., love the cola flavor, right? So I think that's there. But just to conclude what we were discussing is that going forward for a lot of companies, we would love to get new products out, right? The problem would be we go to, the Amazons of the world or the Netmeds of the world. I mean, at the end of the day, there has to be a commercial proposition, right?
No, that's my question. Don't steal my talk time. So that's my question to Anand. Anand, Vijay will launch whatever he wishes to, right? Then he will expect you to sell them, even Vishal for that matter. Now, how do you handle that pressure? Because you have no part to play in identifying the product. Are you guys doing some kind of a research to identify whether it connects with your consumer? Do you have data internally where you are slicing them and therefore you find a match? Or it's a pressure from Vijay by saying, no, you will have to sell it because I have produced it?
We certainly don't work on ROI model. So see, I mean, if I have to pitch to Vijay and his products are already there on our Netmeds. So, a lot of pharma companies actually come to us and work on ROI model, but we actually don't work on that. So our philosophy to them is very simple. We say that, look, if you go to any ordinary normal portal, which is like a news portal, and you go and advertise your product there versus on Netmeds, if somebody is coming to Netmeds, they're already health focused person. And if you are wanted to narrow down your target, reach to the right people who are actually your actual TZ, then this is the best place for you to
are
test
they
your
health
market.
Focused, or they need in Anand? Are they health focused, or are they in need of a health product? I mean, how do you differentiate? Again, I'll come to Sid after this, asking the same question. How do you differentiate, Anand?
So I don't know what happened to my laptop. This screen is gone or frozen.
Okay, we can see you though. We can see you perfect. Yeah.
I can't see any of you, but anyway, I can speak. So see, basically what happens in that case is, of course, one thing is the need is required, but what we see is that, in any store, you see that the people, it's a common buying behavior. Even when you go to any supermarket, we go to buy few products, but then and we end up buying in multiple things. So that is the kind of merchandising that we, our merchandising team work on. Certain things that, the way we showcase the product, and AI and ML is there. So based on your choice and based on what is the seasonality, we try to present such product to the customer that they are going to actually, buy it. But, our value proposition to all, all our TG here is a very simple that, if you want to really test your product, I mean, this is the best place.
So actually, I just want to differ here.
Sure.
Our entire business model is that people who are on Goki should never have to go to NetMeds. Only if we fail, they end up going to NetMeds or PharmEasy or any of the online medicine platforms, because we are in the business of preventive healthcare. So in fact, we do not sell a single prescription drug or allopathic medicine on Goki, because our model is completely on, if you consume all of this, you don't have to go to medicine. So I would say that clearly the consumer profile of somebody who goes on NetMeds is very different than somebody who comes on Goki. In fact, our average customer has a 70 to 80% repeat purchase every month. Because these are very, very focused health customers, we have a very different model. We actually work very closely with our partners and actually help even create products. We don't create ourselves, but we give the insights to our partners on what this consumers looking at and what could they be. So we actually focus on that model because we are a health and nutrition focused health marketplace. So our business model is a lot different than NetMeds in that sense.
Yeah, I think the point they're trying to make is that your customers are clients a lot more desirous to be connected with Goki, while Anand's customers are primarily maybe more to do with the need-based ecosystem, right? So the difference between desire and need.
Their primary business is to buy medicine, right? They are not there to prevent. So the preventive mindset is what we focus.
Correct. So coming to Sid again on this topic, need versus desire, right? Do you guys invest in identifying the difference and how consumer is looking at need-based protein consumption or sports nutrition product, or even for overall category, the difference between desire-based consumption and need-based consumption?
Yeah, we do. There is a lot of time, effort, investment that goes into consumer research, and when we are constantly trying to find what are the purchase drivers or barriers in the minds of our fitness enthusiasts. And like we like to call ourselves, that our job is to deliver better nutrition for every step of life's journey. And in that journey, there are, for example, I would say there are your core needs, or so-called muscle building, maximize athletic performance, build muscle mass. All these are needs. And then you have lifestyle nutrition, which is more of a desire that, people want to take something, so that whether the goal can be immunity, goal can be just to keep in shape, goal could be weight management, anything. So for example, when someone is trying to someone is fit, but he's trying to get thinner. Now it's very hard to say, does he need to get thinner, or that's just a desire because he wants to look good, he wants to stand out, he feels that appearances are the first step to success. And so there are different consumer needs, and we try to address every consumer need. But to be honest, I have, as a marketer, I can't interpret for a consumer whether that's a need or a desire. So we produce products, or we offer solutions for all fitness motivations, but we don't tag them as a need or a desire.
Okay, cool.
And actually, that's exactly the opposite with us, right? Because the consumer who signs up Goki has to first tell us their goals. They actually have to identify 4 key goals, and then they create a program. So we actually get what are their key desires in terms of at least health, and then we recommend them products based on that.
Right. So Vishal, since you touched this, and I also strongly believe that that's what Goki does. How do you segment this audience? Who are these people? A little more on their archetypes from your side.
So the way we think about customers are, of course, there are more archetypes, but broadly, we look at these people above the age of 35, somebody who is married with maybe 1 kid or more, but somebody who has now realized that, listen, I'm no longer bulletproof, and in their 20s, people don't really think about all this. So our average customer, Yeah, our average customer is 30 plus. So we are not going after the gym bodybuilder, etc. That is not our archetype, because those people are very specific. They are already going to a gym and they are mostly going to consume what their gym trainer or whatever their gym circle is buying or telling them to buy. Our consumer is a couch potato. So 98% of our users are couch potatoes who want to get fit, who have tried various means, joined a gym, joined nutrition, consumed all these products, and have not seen any major results. And that's when they come to Goki.
Yeah. So, I think, sorry, my video got paused. I understand. I think that's a very, nice way of portraying it. Now, the couch potato is, of course, exactly opposite to what Siddharth wants. Is couch potato, a rich couch potato, Vishal, so that Anand is interested about it and Vijay is interested about it as well. So I'm hoping he or she is. Coming to you, Vijay, because I think while you spoke very highly about your controlled manufacturing, of product, and thereby, but my question to you is actually related to that you are still a new organization, right? And the trust, and while there is an ON which has been there for a very, very long time, was number one. Netments is a need-based organization. Vishal is talking about more desire. You are still in that zone of, you're trying to build a brand in just 5 years time, which is a very job well done. And that's my question, that how you telling your customer that what we are producing, and how you telling that? I understand that there is a back-end process that you have already set up, but how are you informing your customer that, hey, you know what, I am my production is bulletproof. My production is 100% quality. How are you telling this to your customer?
Well, I mean, interesting question, right? I mean, I would think that, I mean, you can't tell the customer, because most of the customers will not understand what is behind. They will only understand what is put forward, right? So it is very responsible for a brand like ours to consistently be seen to be of top quality, top deliverance, etc. So it is not just the product, it is about the entire experience, right from me to the people in the team, to the product, to the customer service, to even our interaction with, say, a Netmeds or a Goki, or even with On, for example. We have to come across as credible people, right? So, and then the customer sees that we are a credible organization, right? Because you cannot go off and put a TV commercial and say that it's being done in a fantastic certified plant, etc. And I mean that's not going to work, right? So I can tell you a simple story, right? I mean, 3 years back, we hadn't even gone for a certification with the UK agencies, but our product had gone to one of the top, which is the religion of India, the sport. They were playing a match against one of the countries, a test match. And we had supplied, and then the coach and the trainer just messaged me in the morning of the match, okay, saying, "Are you sure that these products are safe?" Okay. I just had to go back and tell him that, please go ahead. I mean, 99.9999% everything is controlled, okay, and they went ahead with the usage, and now it's a repetitive, it's history, right? I mean, then it falls into a portion. So I think I would say it's a 360-degree kind of approach. I mean, we cannot just take the manufacturing thing, because no one will understand. Okay. And the challenge now is, in the last 6 months, right, we have had a lot of new customers coming in. So these are customers which will go to Goki, go to Netmeds, go to XYZ, because we are talking to people who are probably taking a vitamin C. Some of our customers take a BCAA also. Some of them take a plant protein also. So we have a wide variety of customers, right? So again, you have to be, and each of them have a different knowledge base, knowledge level, right? And each of them have different levels of finickiness, right? Some person would say that, the taste is not that great, and immediately they'll complain, right? So I think it's very important that we have to be very fast, super fast, in terms of talking to our customers, engaging with them. And that is not a 9 to 5 job. So what we tell internally is that it's a 24-hour job, 365 days, and you have to do it consistently across platforms. For me, a query on NetMeds is no different from what is in on our own website or on Amazon or on Goki. Right. So that is what
No,
we are trying
absolutely.
to
So
aim at.
taking from that itself, Siddharth. No, true. I mean, so Siddharth, I think a very important point that Vijay mentioned, and even Vishal, Anand all mentioned, that there are different types of customer. He spoke about very unorthodox way of identifying Goki's point of view, Goki's client base. For you, it would be varied, right? I mean, because we are talking about sports nutrition is anyway very, very niche segment, and of course there are various kinds of products. How do you look at Indian fitness audience? And I'm trying to just point towards the research that we have done, which we will probably unveil in a bit. But what is your archetypes, and what kind of audience you guys, or how do you break the Indian audience from a fitness lens or a overall wellness lens?
I think our consumers are a lot more informed, Arnab, about the product ingredients. So when I was in the laundry and the tea category, I hardly met a consumer who was obsessed about what quantity of theanine or what quantity of different antioxidants are present. But when I look at the current consumers of protein supplements, they are very, very well informed. So they do a lot of research, before they end up spending 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees on what they, and hence we try to focus a lot more on the ingredient story, on the fact that we have an informed choice logo, or we have brand substance tested. Like, for example, Vijay mentioned exactly the right consumer barriers. They would like to know answers to these facts. And hence we leverage the pack a lot. We try to put a lot of information on the pack, despite the fact that from a marketing lens, it does not look the best looking in that. I think it's important to bring out the ingredient story on our packs. The second, we try to leverage a lot of social, because the consumers are on Instagram, they are on YouTube, and video lends itself as a medium to communicate a story beautifully. And before starting there, we invest a lot around understanding what the questions are in the minds of consumers. So whether it's a brand health tracker, or whether it's reports like yourselves, like we've just released, we do subscribe to a number of such reports to have a much deeper understanding of the 100-odd lakh sports nutrition consumers in this country. So I would say, and plus, thankfully, we have about 30 years of residual knowledge. ON has been manufacturing its products for the last 30 years, and every year we've been learning. So that's what our philosophy has been.
So I think I just want to add one thing. We did a research on customer trust 3 years back, and we do that every year. 98% consumers don't trust doctors, pharma companies, hospitals telling you anything. 98%. The number one person they trusted is Baba Ramdev, which is why we see the huge upsurge of Patanjali, because 98% Indians absolutely trust Baba Ramdev. And number two celebrity was Akshay Kumar. That's what got us to get Akshay Kumar with us. So clearly we do see a lot of influence of celebrities and people who use, and even these celebrities are very careful when they now work and associate with brands. So clearly, apart from ingredients and everything else, we do see the use of the right influencers making a big difference in product.
True. So I'll ask another question to you, Vishal. Thanks for adding this point. 650 million internet users, almost 450 million regular users, spending 3 hours plus every day. Is it difficult to keep up with them with content and refreshed content, and keep them happy and stuck to your, or stuck is a wrong word, like sticking to your platform?
That's exactly. So we do not tailor it for 600 million. We tailor it for each person individually.
Right.
So somebody who's diabetic has a different content. Somebody who is having PCOD, she has a different content. Somebody who has a situation with liver, in fact, they cannot be having too much protein. It's opposite. There are a lot of people with kidney and liver ailments. So they are consumer, depending on the consumer, because we know all these health issues, our content and recommendation becomes tailor-made. So we do not have the same content or even the same product deal You
Right.
may have a completely different store, and I will have a very completely different store because my health needs are different than yours.
Right. Okay. Okay. So a quick round of kind of question before we move to the report unveiling. Vishal mentioned that it's a for him it's every customer is a new sample and therefore a new requirement. I will just go off to everybody. Next, going to Vijay. How are you catering to this varied need? I mean, we all hear that India is a very, very versatile market. How are you keeping up to this growing need of this growing consumer base and this growing demand of fitness?
So a couple of things that we are doing into the future. One is getting newer products into the portfolio. So I think that's an ongoing process. So we have now a range which caters to the sports, fitness-oriented people. We have a range which gets into the daily nutrition range. We have actually launched 3 months back more of plant-based nutrition. We are also launched something into the kids category, which we have been very passionate about, but I think the time has come to get it going. So that is on one side. The second side is that I think there is a lot of young audience which are going to be growing into those 30s and 35s that Vishal mentioned. So I think it's good to carry forward that journey. So we have a very highly intense engagement which is going on with our customers, right? And I think the third is obviously we are one of the few companies, I think, which is also using technology, right? I think we believe huge time that technology will be an enabler even for traditional businesses.
True.
And that has been reinforced during the COVID time. And it can even be further. I'm not just talking about digital marketing. That's just one part of it.
Yeah, one part.
But a lot of
Yes.
concepts that I think Goki has been wonderfully doing, right, is something to take a leaf out for the nutrition companies, right, and see if they can, leverage something similar and keep engaging with audience, right?
True.
And that is what I think we would be trying to do as some of the few things that we will be able to do.
Sure. So technology brings me to Anand. Anand, your entire business is driven by tech, primarily, right? Finally, how are you keeping up abreast with changing tech and making the experience better than what it was the last time people came back for a transaction? I think you're muted, Anand. Cannot hear you. Can other guys hear Anand?
Nope.
Cannot hear you, Anand. We'll come back to you. So I'll just take the question to Siddharth. Till then, Anand, you'll figure out the speaker. Siddharth, how are you keeping up to this change? Vishal spoke about personalization. Vijay spoke about tech. I'm waiting for Anand to join in. Siddharth, how are you keeping up to this growing market, growing need, overall wellness?
See, the first is technology. We are trying to invest in a process that allows us to track our products right from the time of what the cow has eaten, and from the time we source milk to the consumer's home. So developing that traceability, which starts from the US and ends in, let's say, a tier 2 town in India, we're trying to. We will have that by Q1 of plus we are making investments in technology to service the consumer directly, which is through the D2C channel. Currently, we rely on, and I mean, I won't say we rely on, but I think we very well partnered with Amazon or Flipkart or NetMeds or HealthCart and all such e-commerce sites to bring consumers close to our brands, or rather our brands close to our consumers. And plus, we have a wide network of offline stores through which we service demand. I think the key enabler for products like ours, Optimum Nutrition, will be ease of availability, and hence to the fitness needs of products. How close can we get our products to them, and hence how do we move now from tier 2 to tier 3 and beyond. Second is how do we personalize their experience. That's what we are currently looking at.
Okay.
There are lots of technologies to do it, but yeah. Okay,
so personalization, tech, meeting demand and ensuring that the product availability. Anand, what is your tech?
Am I audible now?
Yeah, clearly.
Perfect. Yeah, so I mean, in basically for e-commerce for us is one key point is called personalization that we work on, and that plays a multiple role. Is like your shopping experience is like before shopping and post shopping. So so technically it goes into the two funnel, which is like a conversion funnel, and other is that the relevant content that reaches to you based on like how Vishal was mentioning about the we have a various longest nature of health condition customer base. So one is basically we try to break down in terms of the add to cart funnel that we the people who drop out from there, and we reach out to those people. And other thing is that during your shopping experience we need to showcase you what is most relevant to you, which is like again one-to-one. And personalization definition itself goes on right communication at right time to right people, right? So that's what we work on in terms of personalize your entire experience till the time you receive your goods in your hand. And second part is in terms of the content. So we have a good content in-house team. So we work a lot on building in-house content for consumer, because you can't be selling all the day, and there has to be a holistic view of reaching out to customer when they need us. So everybody is today working, content is a king, and who will know better than you? You are a digital marketing agency driving it, right? So content is a king. So
Right.
we have in-house team, and we reach out to customer with whatever app message or whatever is required for them based on their health conditions. And other part is that it is the first time happening in India, that I will take few more seconds here. So unless until online pharmacy was not launched in India, what we see here that we have more than millions of prescription that is being digitized. Now imagine that that is a wealth of data that we have today, and based on this data, a lot of analytics that can be made, and a lot of things can be predicted actually. Because all these years it was all paper noted, prescription. Now, as a process for Netmeds, we have to decode all this prescription and validate them. Without having a valid prescription, we are not supposed to process the order.
Right.
So the amount of the data that is there, but we are in healthcare space, and it has to be dealt with the higher privacy matter, because it's an individual information. But it's a national building process. I would say that online pharmacy, that today 4 or 5 of us that we are driving in online pharmacy in India, this is the first time ever in the history of India that this kind of digitization of the health is available in terms of the data.
Yeah, sure, true. So I think net what we are understanding is that the change is inevitable, and I think we are all seeing significant change in the way this category functions. I think that was very clear. We also identified the need to have a personalized, catered experience for every consumer. I think India is going through a severe change in terms of from moving from a massified product to lot more niche creations that are happening. And overall, I think we have all noticed a shift in the last couple of years, and more so in the last 8-9 months, which has pushed India in a faster path of adopting to a fitter lifestyle. And thankfully at Liquid Asia we have been able to kind of utilize that time, and we are actually kind of launching a report. It's called the Unfolding the State of Health, Fitness and Nutrition in New India. I will just kind of open it. We tried to send it to all the panelists, but I think because of changing addresses, it did not really reach everybody. Here is how the report looks, and I'm sure it will reach you. Okay, you have received it, thankfully. So there is a proof that we have printed it out, and it's not just me. And yeah, so this is a shorter version, which we are publishing today. However, there is a detailed version and a website link. I don't know, Latika, if we can just project the screen and the website. We will share the link with almost all our attendees, and you guys can possibly go ahead and download this report and even reach out to us for a full version. We have worked with an organization, a research agency called Crowd Wisdom 360. They primarily work in the online space of identifying consumer insights and unearthing consumer truth. And we have reached out to almost 1,000 odd real individuals across the country, from different type of society to kind of give their point of view about everything that you just heard. And I often believe that experience is the biggest data that we have. But still, to kind of summarize everything, we have published this report. There is a 145 slide plus report which exists, which you want to download. You can reach out to the team and they will get it. IMA team, if you can just publish the link of the URL, so that I think Harish Manik is asking for the link. Yeah, so that's really about the report. There are insights towards the end of the report which are extremely carefully crafted by a strategy team along with the research agency. So I would urge, if somebody needs a shorter read, maybe from slide number 20 onwards, or a page number 20 onwards is a quicker read and understanding. Guys, all the panelists, I think we are extremely thankful that you guys have joined us, to kind of release this. Do share your point of view as well. I mean, I think you guys are the masters of identifying this. So having said that, I would actually open the panel for questions for our participants, if anybody has any questions. And I can take questions as well about the report, if anybody from the panel or from the audience has any questions.
We would request the attendees to post their questions on the chat box, and we can take up the questions from there. We would be emailing the report to everyone. So we're not sharing the link as of now here. We would be emailing the reports to all the attendees. Okay. Superb. Anybody, any question, can put up the question. And since we have 13 more minutes to this panel, I mean, we can continue discussing a little more about our category. So quick things to watch out. Vishal, I know that has been a trend spotter of our industry for a very long time. Vishal, 5 trends from your side about this industry.
I don't think so. There are any trends which nobody else knows. I think clearly, I would say that we are seeing a big resurgence of traditional Indian food and Indian products. So I think more people want to adopt to that versus just buying protein, etc. So I think there is a big focus on the traditional India. Kadas, I mean, there have been so many Kada brands suddenly, and all kinds of Kadas are in vogue. So we are definitely seeing a big trend around Kada. Third thing, we are definitely seeing people being very smart with gifting of health. Like in this Diwali season, we saw a ton of brands packaging laddus and protein and dates and bars. There is a big jump around all kinds of nutrition bars, which has been big. Also, we are seeing some very interesting protein bhel combinations. So they are kind of creating trail mix, but this is trail mix created in very spicy bhel form. Because what I said, right? I mean, Indians are not used to eating trail mix, but when you tell them to have a nice bhel, people are looking at that. So we are seeing a lot of these spicy mixtures of seeds and proteins. So clearly there is a lot of product innovation happening. In fact, if you throw a stone, you may hit somebody who's currently launching a new protein or nutraceutical brand right now. It's that bad.
Right. So Indianized food is trend from Vishal. I don't know if we are soon getting Gomutra based immunity boosters, but
Amazon may be already selling them.
Yeah. So coming to Anand, 5 trends from your side.
Okay, 5 trends from my side. I think what we have seen in the current scenario was the immunity boosting was that immediate solution. But since we are in health and wellness space, so it's a holistically view that one has to take care of body, mind, and soul, right? So that is like the proper diets, proper exercise, and I mean basically what is that you're taking the intake and how much you are burning the calories. That's what I said in the beginning. And accessibility of, we are in a brand where we have to make sure that we are reaching to all the required people that they need to it to be delivered to their home. And I would request all the suppliers to be listed all your products on Netmeds and make it available for all the customers. So discoverability is another thing that we have seen, like huge upsurge in a lot of new brands that they have come up and listed on Netmeds. So discoverability is another mantra that has to be there in the industry.
Just like Jio Fiber, we want it free for 1 year.
Okay. So I will come back to the trend. Yeah, correct. But we got a new question. Question is, what's your take on, and Siddharth, you have to take this maybe. What's your take on nutrition bar format? Also, how do you address on the point that protein is only for gym goers?
So I think bars is going to gain penetration big time, and that might drive the penetration of this category. Even though now we see protein water and chips, but I think like we've seen in US or in Europe, the predominantly penetration driver continues to be the health bar, largely on account of convenience more than the amount of protein it fulfills, because the bars typically do not fulfill or even 25% of your daily protein need, but it's super convenient and much more affordable as well. So recently Kellogg's has entered that space. We saw Unilever enter into that space, into a similar space with Horlicks, though they've not launched a bar, but I think nothing stops them from launching the bar next. Okay. So the question was, Arnav, what was the other part of the question?
The question was how do you address the point that protein is only for gym goers? I think your Achilles heels, right? This question.
Yeah, taking a cue from the panelists, I think the best guy to convince them is Baba Ramdev. Baba Ramdev has to say, "मैं protein खाता हूँ." I don't know. Yeah, that's a mystery.
I can just have a shot at that.
Yeah, please.
So I think as a person who has been consuming products, right? I think what used to really scare me away is those big jars and alignment of proteins with the bodybuilders and that kind of connotation, right? Was always a little tricky, for a lot of people, right? So I think slowly, once the brands are able to break that, and even for my own daughter or my own family, I mean, I know pretty well that protein is important, right? But the moment, you need to just cultivate that proteins are still okay to be taken every day, right? Because a lot of our food doesn't have enough protein, right? So I think if you can come out with simpler forms of protein and not typically
more acceptable formats,
scare them away with those big jars. Maybe if people can come out with those smaller sachets, on the go stuff, even it could be a powder format, right? But something which is more linkable, I think that will probably help.
Right. One question
I just want to add here, right? Just
Vishal,
to point. Add
yeah, you
point
pointed.
Here,
then
right?
I have a question for you from the attendees.
The point is that I think 98% couch potatoes don't need to have 200 grams of protein. I mean, let's agree on that, right? So the format of having the scoop of protein in and have that is, of course, if you are seriously doing muscle building. The problem right now of our couch potato is that they are not active. They are eating too much of carbohydrate. They are having all the junk and processed food. So what we are saying is that directly introducing them to having protein shakes is not the solution. They have to be slowly nudged into this category. So we of course start by protein rich foods. So people don't eat enough paneer or eggs or tofu or soya or dals. I think the problem is a diet which is supplementation is required when you need that kind of, you can't have 20 eggs a day if you need that kind of protein. So supplementation is the need.
So listen to this question for you, Vishal. It is actually connected. It says Vishal spoke about innovative ways to give protein and other important nutrients to the masses. Is relatively healthy but tasty the future and more acceptable to the masses than really healthy? So somebody is asking that whether when you make the format more acceptable, is it still going to be as healthy as the purest format?
So see, it's very simple, right? That are you going after the performance seeker or are you going after somebody who is the convenience seeker? If I am a marathon runner who wants to shave off 2 minutes from my, half marathon, my requirement is different. I may compromise on taste, and I have eaten all those stupid goo gels they taste very, very bad, but you have them because you want to increase your performance. So I think that category may not go for taste. But if you are going after the couch potato who is eating his traditional unhealthy foods, now if you are going to suddenly introduce a very alien taste to them, they may have it for 1 day, 2 day, 5 days, and then they go back. So I think
Right.
if you have to go for the mass market, clearly something which is much more, familiar is definitely what can penetrate. And then, of course, they graduate. I'm not saying that they will only use that. At some point of their life, they will graduate to better flavors. But at an entry level, giving them something which is, designed for athletes may not be the best product.
Okay. So a question for you, Sid, asking that, whether regular fitness enthusiasts, is it only for enhancing of performance, or it also helps in recovery for people who are doing yoga, etc., from a sports nutrition protein supplement?
I was in mute. Yeah. So, like I said, yeah, whatever be your fitness goal, your body needs about 1.5 grams of protein for every kg of your body weight. Now, that need goes up when you're trying to bulk up or when you're trying to build muscles. But that need does not go up and remains same if you're into lifestyle fitness like running or jogging or swimming or cycling. And hence, it's we as marketers have to break that myth that protein is needed for bodybuilding. It's our job. And like we can divide, like rightly Vishal said, that there could be two kinds of goals. There could be lifestyle goals and there could be performance goals. Requirement might differ. It might go up for performance goals. It might be regular for your lifestyle goals. It still remains.
True. So I mean, just to conclude the discussion, guys, a lot of these answers are here in this report. Do go through it, download it, reach out to us if you need the complete version of it. But I can promise that you will find a lot of these insights in this report. And thank you, gents. Lovely talking to you all. And I'm really jealous of you, Vishal, that you're sitting in Goa and showing off your balcony. Over to you, Latika.
Can't agree more with Arnab. Thank you, guys. It was.
And I'm just about to have my protein shake after this.
You had to add this.
Which is branded by Kingfisher, I'm guessing.
On a Friday evening, I'm sure.
It is made of cashews. Actually, it's healthier.
Wow. Superb, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Arnab, Siddharth, Vijay, Anand, Vishal. It was a great session. Very, very different session than what we've been doing in the last 2 months. I think a very, very needed session during this time. Thank you so much, all the participants. I know we've taken a good time, but we have been able to start and conclude on time. Thanks a lot. Like Arnab said, you can always reach out to the team Liquidation IMAI for more details. And please stay tuned for both of our social media pages for more updates. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.